Okay, so let's now again. I like that jump. So now let's go back into you and your bro.
Kumedhoka.
His things, I think.
Hey, man, so me and then like you say, it's all about goodwill. Me and my bro now rent. It's hard because now remember he's tamakin, and it's a commission job. Hey, kumbe even the US there's conmen. Those guys are connies. Hey, no pay.
Ooh.
So we have to pay rent. Why? Who told you like we didn't write a check that there's no money in the bank account, but you just want to buy time. Bounced. But what ended up happening? Ended up making a friend in the apartment complex. My bro ended up befriending her, and she knew me, but my bro is the one who used to deal, because he's the one who used to, his name was on the list, so he's the one that used to go pay. And she's like, yeah, I know you and I see you and your brother. And, she told my bro, this is just a passing stage. There's a time that I remember we were talking about it the other day, and my bro was saying, yeah, my bro has never forgotten that, because like one day, this rent that you're struggling to pay, it will be nothing. You'll be just writing a check, and he's like, yeah.
So that's how you made friends, because she came and told you, yo, your check's done bounced.
Yeah, because we went over there and we got a letter, and then the person he went to deal with was that lady. And the most interesting,
and she's American now.
Yeah, she's American. And I think she was from the islands, Puerto Rico or something like that. And at this point, we things settled down and we're able to now. But now we were told no more checks. You have to pay with a money order. So the money order is like a bank statement. Yeah, it's like preloaded money.
Exactly.
so it's guaranteed it will have money. But we paid like that. But the next place we moved, we never had any rent issues. And the most interesting thing is, like, years later, my brother was like wanted to go and thank her, and they were like, oh no, when you guys left, she left.
Yo.
Yeah. So my bro is like,
because she gave you guys leeway.
No.
Yeah.
I think she just left.
Just what she said.
Yeah, but for us, we feel like, man, okay. You know how you feel like there's someone looking out for you, like, but are they looking out for you? But they're looking out for you.
Yeah.
Then years later, it's like, wow, that person was looking out for us.
Yeah,
that's how we felt that she was to us.
Nice.
Yeah.
She was good people.
Very.
So. Okay, then let's talk about your job. Then what are you doing now?
So I'm working in this company where like
because you were there for 13 years.
Yeah, 13 years.
So what are you doing?
Working with kids after school programs. So we take them for activities, bowling. It's not a stressful job.
Yeah.
And it's activities,
and
bowling.
these are kids who are autistic.
Swimming. Yeah, these are autistic kids. Yeah. So the tough part about it is learning to be patient. And that wasn't a problem. So we go, I work with this one particular kid, and when the first day was rough, I almost quit, and I don't want to be known as the guy who's quitting.
Hey, it is what it is, bro.
No. Like the other ones, I needed to quit the other job because they were not good for my health. And remember, it was only the Safeway job and UPS.
Yeah, bro, relax.
No, I have to. Hey, people be like, this guy is a quitter. No. So, so like, that kid, it's tough because they are, like, hey, niliumwa. Take a chunk out of my hand. And, so I got to meet the mom, and we talked right before, when the mom picked up the kid, we talked a little bit. I was like, man, what am I complaining about? Because I'm like, hey, you have to deal with the kid just for a few hours. Them, it's their kid. From then on, I never looked back. So within our company, and at this time, so I'm trying to enroll back into school. So I enrolled back to a community college that's around there. It's called Montgomery.
So do you get your pastor degree?
No. I used to release because I remember that guy gave me a phone call. He's like, hey, what's going on? You haven't been... I was like,
it's all good.
Showed up for 2-3 classes and I was gone. So I moved and I left. I was able to transfer my credits from Central Methodist to this community college. And I get back into the nursing program as kawaida, but now I had to do a humanities class, an arts class. And guess what? art class I pick
Music.
intro into music. I used to hate going to the other classes. Like when I tell you I used to hate going to the like anatomy, biology classes, it's like, man. But this class, I was the first one there. Hey, performed poorly in the other classes. Remember high school?
Yeah.
If I don't have interest in something, like I performed poorly in the other classes. Did so well in this one. Befriended the professor. It's like, oh yeah, it's like this music thing, yeah? I was like, yeah, I love music. It's like, why don't you go do music? It's like, what? Yeah, I inquired some more. That's
And
how
now you're paying your own fees, huh?
Yeah, I'm paying my own fees.
So you're working, making during the day,
Yeah.
making money, going to class.
So I'm going to class in the morning and then going to work in the afternoon. And I'm working 7 days a week.
Monday to Monday.
Yeah. But it's in the afternoon. So it's not many hours on weekdays. And then weekends, I'm working like 6-7 hours.
Yo.
Yeah. So I end up signing up in I go and I talk to an advisor and they tell me what classes to take for my music. So I go to the music department, I sign up and I start from music theory and sight singing 1.
What?
And then I sign up for piano. But piano, I had already started dabbling kidogo before I went back to school. When I moved to Maryland, I went to I paid for piano lessons and I went to what do you call it? To like a piano school in a mall. And over there, I'm like, when I tell you there was 7-year-old kids that were playing chords around me.
Yeah,
My fingers are rigid. They can't move like these kids are like flying up and down there. I was like, hey, okay. So when I signed up for piano classes because it's part of the course. And then you get the practice room. Started slowly. Now at the job where I'm working, there's a music room that has an old piano. So whatever we're doing in class, when I don't have time to practice in the school, I can practice at the job. So my supervisor is like, okay, why don't you take the other kids while the other guys come in? So he used to tell me to come in earlier. And
so
then
play for the kids.
So I'd watch like 3-4 kids or 5 kids at the same time. And then I would just be playing. So like, you come earlier. And so I started, that's how I would get more hours. So I also befriended him. We became cool friends with the guy. He's an Ethiopian. So the other thing about the DC area, when I say it's diverse, it's diverse.
Metropolitan thing.
You find someone from Uzbekistan. Chances of you going to someone from, the Borat, it's very high. Borat country is very high. President. And so, I end up, getting more hours, and because I'm coming early, I'm watching the kids getting off the school bus into the building, and I'm playing a keyboard for them. But I'm practicing.
This is so cool.
Do they care? Them, they are not like at being critical or anything.
Yeah.
Them, they're just there. They're listening. They're doing their own thing. So I start practicing, and at the same time, I'm doing theory classes, sight singing. I became good at theory. I sucked at sight singing because sight singing is different. It's like they give you a sheet of music, and you have to read it. And that, I think, it's like telling someone to like read a formula. In Zinetangwaje, the pharmacist notes. If you don't know what's going on, so that one I struggled. But theory, I became good. And then piano, I became good because I put in a lot of time. Then, I kept on taking more classes, at this school. And then in this school, I met other Kenyans. So I met a guy called, through Jose. Jose was going to the same school also.
For music?
No, but him was doing engineering.
Okay, yeah.
But Jose is in the same community college. So Jose had been living in Maryland longer than me. So he introduced me to another guy called Daya. And we had both same interest in basketball. So I would go to school, go to work, and if it wasn't too dark, in the summer,
it gets dark late,
so we go play basketball together. Then, Daya is a DJ. The dude had turntables in the house. And so we would sometimes, and he lived close to the school.
Yeah.
We go there, go to his house. Mom is there, Nini, she has cooked.
Kenyan mom.
Kenyan mom.
Okay. So him and his family
She used
live
to
there.
teach, yeah, he used to be a professor here at the University of Nairobi.
So there's quite a lot of Kenyans who the whole family is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very many, like where the whole family moved. So Daya, we started hanging out a lot. You know, basketball, Nini, then we're talking music. Now he's another music junkie, and he knows music from, he knows from reggae to hip hop and then he has an ear. So me, I'm learning how to play. He's DJing. So sometime I bought this keyboard from my mentor. And my mentor there's a story to how he ended up becoming my mentor. So at this time, I'm already taking, I'm taking piano theory classes, and then I sign up for music technology, where I start learning production. My first software to use.
What year is this, by the way?
This is 2004.
Okay.
And so that whole 2004, I get introduced to cakewalk. I don't know how they call it now. Is it Sona? But cakewalk. Then the next semester, the teacher decides to bring Reason.
Ooh, remember Reason?
That changed everything.
Yep.
So I started making. So the piano, I'm learning. We have a music book to learn how to play songs and everything. So I started learning melodies, ninis. Now me, instead of practicing, I go to the lab, and those 2 chords, the new 2-3 chords I learn, I start making songs. So I'm making songs. But remember, because of listening to music for a very long time and being interested, I already know
what's good.
I have an idea of song structures and everything. So that's when we start learning, my piano skills get better, and I start making more and more intricate music. And
let me ask you something. In fact, now that you brought up production, from a production perspective, which producers are you listening to? Especially because this I'm asking because you said R&B.
At this point, I'm listening to Babyface. I don't know if you can mention. Well, Bien said it. I'm listening to R. Kelly.
Okay.
I'm listening to Dre. I'm listening to hip hop. I'm listening to a lot of DJ Premier because of, you remember him and Guru.
Yep.
I'm listening to at this time I've been introduced now. Remember Ken? So Ken has a brother called Joe Getahi. So Getahi at that point was listening to a lot of Money Fresh. He was listening to a lot of Cash Money Millionaires.
Yep.
So I'm starting to also embrace that southern sound. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'm
That's
listening.
when
And then I was in St.
baby.
Louis. When I was in St. Louis, Nelly was
huge.
Everywhere. Nelly. I mean, when I say huge, seeing people with Nelly t-shirts everywhere. And then obviously you're listening to, that's when the Jay-Z's they were coming up, so a lot of the stuff that they're doing, DMX. Because even when I was living here, DMX was already big.
Yeah.
And I remember my bro was obsessed with him. But me, I loved Tupac.
Johnny J.
There you go.
Do you know Johnny J?
Yeah, and the producer was called Johnny P.
Yep.
And then also he was working with Digital, the guy, Shock G.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he moved and started working with Dre, with Death Row. I'm listening to, and who else did I like at that time?
Jermaine?
Yeah, JD. Because I used
Dark Child.
I love the Brat. There are many.
Yeah.
There are so many to name. Dark
yep.
Child, and then because Dark Child also, that's when he took over. He took over.
Yep.
Obviously Quincy Jones because of his work with MJ. Now I start discovering other producers. Like I started discovering the guy for what's his name? This group, Naughty by Nature. One of the guys is a producer. Then Blackstreet, Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
All those guys.
Okay. So you were in the music.
I was in the music.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say my biggest ones that I was listening to was Babyface, R. Kelly, production-wise.
Yep.
Dr. Dre. Those are the three.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because Stevie Wonder, I was listening to him more as an artist rather than as a producer. Yeah.
Okay.
And Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
Because of his, especially his work with Bobby Brown.
Oh, with Bobby Brown? I thought you were going to say MJ.
No.
The Dangerous album, he killed it.
I like him in the album with the Humping Around.
Yeah.
That one. Oh, that's one of my favorite. I think it's called Bobby. Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums.
Okay.
And then also Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, because of what they were doing with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, good with Janet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to get an understanding of who you are, because me at this time, very weirdly, I was also trying to be a producer.
Yeah, I know, I remember, and you are a good one. I don't know why you never. I don't know why you never continued.
Because I'm now shooting guys with behind the camera.
No, back then you were not doing that.
Yeah, I was because I met other guys who were 10 times better than me. Kembi Gitura, I was sick.
Man.
Anyway, tuendelee.
Yeah.
So I had to follow your story. So I'm hearing now where production has entered.
Yes.
You're with Reason producing. I've understood your chord progression.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the producers you listen to influence the kind of chord progressions that you do. And like Babyface had this insane sound.
Yes.
And
a very like a particular.
I really
yes.
TP2.com and even the other one, R. Kelly, the R. Kelly, the double CD album.
Yeah, the 12 play.
Yeah,
the
play.
R. Yeah,
the R. Yeah, crazy. So in terms of stylistically, what he was doing as a producer. So where now you go? Because now I'm hearing you're now beginning. You've entered the production game.
Now I'm trying to. And another person I forgot to mention is Raphael Sadiq.
Oh, nice.
Because of his work
Lucy Pearl.
His work with D'Angelo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And Brian McKnight.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did Lucy Pearl as well, huh?
Yeah, he did Lucy Pearl, yeah. He did it with, what's his name? The guy for Ali Shahid Muhammad.
Yes.
Yeah, so... And now I'm discovering all these other guys who we see in the front are actually producers.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't know Q-Tip was a producer until later on. So, and then the Neptunes are coming up. So me, I know the Neptunes from the days of Noriega.
What?
Yeah. That's when that song, you know, what, that's when I remember them. And then I'm like, oh, these guys have a different sound. Come to find out, they're the ones who did the song for SWV, Use Your Heart. And then, you know, so I'm like, okay, so I start becoming interested in who is in the background rather than who's singing the song. I start searching for music based on who produced it rather than who it is.
Yep.
So my production, you know, now gets opened up to a different whole scale. Then at the job, there was this guy who used to work there, and he comes from a musical family. He's a trumpet player, but the dude is like, no, I'm not a pianist, I'm a trumpet player, but he is like just. So I come and was like, man. I tell him I always tell him I would tell this story, because if it wasn't for him, I think also like things would have turned out differently. And I tell him I never wanted to be a producer. I wanted to be a professional keyboardist. So I wanted to be Aaron Rumbui. I wanted to do what he does.
Yes.
Now, but I sucked at piano because I was starting. So he tells me, play me something. And when I tell you I was like going like this one hand and then I'm banging chords on his head. This is like, he looked at me, he's like, man, brother man. Keep your day job.
Keep your day job.
Keep your day job. Man, I was like, what this guy is mean? But I was like, okay. Now I went deep into practicing. And remember, I'm also now doing the music tech class. I'm learning how to produce. I end up making a CD of all the tracks that I was working on for class project, for whatever. And one day I'm listening to them in the car for reference, something that I still do even up till now. Only difference is like I put the music on the phone and then plug it.
Yep.
You know, so I'm listening in the car and I see him cut across. It's almost a year later. No, it wasn't a year, it was like some couple of months. I see him cut across and I, you know, go look for him and then he's gone. And I asked the front lady, you know, is he coming back? It's like, yeah, he might be coming back later on. So I go to the car, I grab the CDs, give it to the front desk lady, and I tell him, hand him this CDs. So the guy comes back. He's like, oh yeah, his name is EJ. EJ, Waithaka left some stuff over here for you. Hands him the CDs. He's like, he's not thinking much. And he's like, he's like, who are these from? He's like, the guy who's always in the piano room. Oh, the guy who can play. And then she's like, oh no, he's different now. He's a little bit better because
she used to
I never realized,
she was listening
she was listening to me all the time. And I remember she used to be like, man, this guy, when is he going to stop banging? And he got to a point, he's like, oh wow, okay.
Not bad.
To now when I told her I'm leaving, she's like, what? No more music in the piano room? I'm like, no more. And this is a span of I'd say 10 years up by the time I was deciding to leave. Because they moved to that building in 2003 and I left in 2014.
Whoa, okay.
So the whole time, by the time I was leaving, I was playing and they were listening. People were coming back and forth, stopping, getting in. They sit there, I play, entertain the kids. So the guy is like, no. She's like, no. Yeah, he's gotten better. So he gets in the car, he puts in the CD, he pulls out, goes, he didn't even get to the light, made a U-turn.
No way.
Yeah, came back. And he asked the girl, are you sure this is the guy who was in there? It's like, yeah. He looked for me. He told me, I have a studio in my house. Come.
What?
Yes.